Well,
Recording.
yep, recording. Welcome everybody to our Magnification Call. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, the Magnification Call is benefit of the Kingdom Organizer community. And we are so grateful for Mr. Evans for creating the Kingdom Organizer and this community. This is definitely one of the highlights of my week. And but tonight I've got a birthday party to attend with my boy, so I'm gonna let you guys handle it, and I'll catch you on the replay.
See, he's going for K2. Good job, buddy.
Yep.
All right,
Good night,
thank
y'all.
you, Michael.
Yep.
Okay, did anyone see my Instagram post? Okay, this is a true story. Can you see who that is from here? Donny Osmond. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go on TV, and I'm sitting here, and we're at Channel 2, and Donny Osmond walks into the studio. Now I know Donny from way back, and so he walks into the studio, and he walks up. Here's the camera right on me, and he literally stands right here, right? So you can't see him, but he's this close, and he's going like this. And he's talking to me, and I'm on TV, right? And I'm trying to keep my attention. And then the interviewer says, "Well, do you have any book signings this week?" And Donnie's like, "It's like, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted." And think how weird that would sound to say that Donny Osmond is standing right here making faces and things at me. And Donnie, who somehow he got from Diane a Vaniac sticker. And he had put it on his chest, and he jumped in front of the camera. This is live TV, right? And he starts dancing like on what was the oh my gosh, what's the movie with Vaniac? I'm a maniac, you know that movie. So he opens his coat up, says Vaniac, and he starts singing, I'm a Vaniac, I'm a Vaniac. How could you not love Donny Osmond, right? Okay. We have some cool things to talk about today. And first of all, is everyone okay? You doing all right? Okay, good. It's been a very interesting week. It's been a tough week, and there's a lot of thoughts going through my head. I'm reading. Okay, so just so you know, I'm a student of history. And I love studying history. So this is my newest book. I'm studying the life of the Nazi stormtroopers, the brown shirts. Okay, history just fascinates me. The thing that's scary is I'm reading about pre-World War II Germany, and oh my gosh, the similarities to our time in America right now are just terrifying. The politics, just different names, but the politics, like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So, but that's why I like to study history, because you start to see relevance and then hopefully figure some things out. We have a nice turnout tonight. Tonight, I want to talk about something that's very personal to you. Does anyone have snow where you are? It's snowing outside. It's when I was coming out, I went outside for a drive tonight, and it was just Robbie doesn't like the snow. And it was very pretty. This last week, as you know, I released a book 2 weeks ago, and it's doing extremely well. It's doing really well. It's number 6 on the Book Scan Publishers Weekly list, number 7 on the New York Times, at the USA Today. First of all, thank you so much for all your support. What's been interesting is it's such a different market. This was a time of shifting. And as I talked about, it's really important that we don't take these times, that we don't get a bunker mentality. And so what I did is I start looking for opportunities. I may not go back to the way I used to do this, because we are getting so much more media, so many interesting things coming up and ways to reach people. And so stepping back and say, well, what is really my goal with my books and going on book tour? It's to reach people. And so we're learning new things. We're finding new ways to reach out. And that's, and I was talking to my daughter today. My daughter, her book comes out on Tuesday. This is it. Love and Olives. She read part of the book. She goes, spoiler, Dad. And actually, it was probably the worst thing she could have read to me, because it was a complete spoiler. it like totally gave away the book 100%. It was like near the end, it's like, oh, now I know what happens. But it also gave me chills. And I remember when Jenna really struggled with this book. And I just want to read something to you because it's something I'm really proud of. I'll try not to get teary-eyed when I read this. It's the dedication. It's the greatest dedication I've ever read. During the course of this, trying to write this book, she had the most adversity in her life. She used to tell me, I'm such a lucky girl, Dad. I'm just lucky. Everything good happens. And she didn't say that. And the worst thing is she saw what was happening with her son, Sam. Sam, a few months ago, was diagnosed with autism. But because he's an affectionate little guy, no one could diagnose him, but he was having complete meltdowns in school and kept getting kicked out of school. And so Jenna's having PTSD because she went through this with her brother. You know, Michael was kicked out of 3 schools in 6 months. And she's like, I can't believe it. My little boy has gone from where she is. And you know what? It's in the darkest skies that stars are best seen. And that's really where we are right now in our life, people. And so this is what she did. I watched my daughter, and I wanted to take the pain away from her. It's like, you know, I've been through this. I can do it again. It's worse to see our kids suffer than it is to go through it ourselves, I think. I think it's kind of the worst suffering. But this is what she wrote. And you have to understand Sam and his autism, and he loves video games, as most autistic boys do. She wrote, to Sam, I will battle 1 million Endor dragons, 100 million creepers, 20 cave spiders, and a zombie pigman for you. That for me was a parenting moment of excellence. That for that moment, I thought I did something right. I am so proud of her. And it's that kind of dignity that we want in our community to lift each other up for. Jenna said something to me today. Jenna has left the church of her youth and has searched. She's trying to find God. And my feeling has always been, I have very strong beliefs and I would never impose them on someone else, but I also never not tell you what they are. So you're really clear and why. But when it comes down to it, I will support you in your search for God. And she told me something today that was interesting. She said, Dad, I felt like I've really been struggling, and I realized what I'm missing in my life is ritual. And so I created a ritual. She goes, I light a candle and I meditate and talk to God. And she goes, at first in my old religion, I felt like this was like something was wrong with it because I had created it myself. And she said, I cannot believe the peace it's brought in my life. This is what I want to talk to you about today, because this is a time of potential great power in our lives. I want to talk to you about the rituals in your life and what you have. Rituals, I learned this years ago, the rituals are incredibly powerful. So would someone give me a definition? What is a ritual? Raise your hand if you'd like to. Anyone want to give a definition? Joseph? Let's unmute you here.
I didn't hear the question. I just barely got on.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll ask you, do you want to define what is a ritual?
I mean, like in a spiritual sense or in like a task sort of sense?
Oh, just the word.
So,
what does ritual mean? Because it's the same either way.
Ritual means something that you do over and over and over. You know, basically you have a ritual to brush your teeth. You have a ritual to, you know, if somebody's working towards, you know, becoming a basketball player or something, they have a ritual to practice every single day.
So is a ritual the same as a habit?
I mean, it can be.
This is good because it's like there's a little bit of difference, and I appreciate that because so let me give you a dictionary definition. And so when you asked what kind of ritual, I think that's pretty close because there are spiritual and religious rituals. The dictionary says a ritual is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, actions, or objects performed in a sequestered place and according to a set sequence. Okay. Now you've seen like people who have OCD. Sometimes people with OCD will have very specific rituals. Did you see As Good as It Gets? Jack Nicholson would come in and he would wash his hands in a certain way. Rituals may be prescribed by the traditions of a community, including a religious community. Do we have a ritual here in our community? Do we have any rituals?
Generally, of showing up and having this meeting on most Sundays. And
On a Sunday night, yeah. Okay, so there are rituals. Can Lynn Caberna, can you think of any rituals as a community that we have?
Yeah, we're starting to have a ritual on Sunday night just prior to our magnification call, and that's where we have small groups, accountability groups, and we meet for 15 minutes and declare what we're wanting to accomplish for the next week. And then we report on what we did last week. Real simple,
Cool.
but it's kind of a ritual.
So where do rituals come from? Just think of, I remember when I left on a church mission, I remember this tremendous amount of stress that came over. First of all, I was incredibly homesick. I'd never been completely away from home. And when you go on a Mormon mission, you are completely isolated. So I was homesick. I left 3 weeks before Christmas. Actually, 2 weeks before Christmas, I went in, which is a really crappy time to leave your home, right? And all of a sudden, rituals became super powerful to me. I remember the power I got when they had the sacrament. I thought, well, the sacrament is something I did at home, and it's something I had here. It was one of the few things that was similar in my life. And then the rituals that were taken away, the Christmas rituals that were actually missing, left a huge hole in my life. But where did they come from? For those who are involved with the Tribe of Kings, we did some rituals that for some it was disturbing because it reminded them of the religious rituals, not realizing that there are thousands of institutions that have the same ritual. But one of them was an anointing. So where did anointing come from? Well, as I started to do research on it, I found out that many times rituals will start from a very natural kind of thing. Let's say, for instance, I'm wearing a mask all the time. So I ended up wearing a mask for a couple of years. Pretty soon I might even get used to wearing a mask. It might even become something that people just do. And so it's like, where did the mask come from? It might take on a different meaning. Has the mask taken on a different meaning already? Have we seen political fights over masks? Demonstrations over masks? Over this, a piece of cloth. And yet it already has taken on a different meaning. This is what happens. Anointing, as far as we can tell, the first anointings came from shepherds. They believe they put oil in the ears of their sheep to keep bucks. That's as near as they can tell where it came from. So it was a health, and it became part of health. And it evolved. It evolved into a spiritual anointing. We have rituals. What kind of rituals might we have for Christmas? We talk about traditions, or can traditions be rituals? Does anyone have a ritual they want to share? Bonnie, stand by. Do you have one? No? Go ahead. Not what you want to share. Okay. How about Robbie? How about you?
I'd like.
Go ahead.
Okay, so our ritual that we have in our family happened when Sarah was about 3 years old, and I realized that Santa Claus got credit for a lot of really cool things. And so our ritual started to become that Santa Claus would bring one gift, and it was usually a game or a video. So that just became part of our tradition and ritual of our family is Santa Claus brings one gift. That's our, and then of course, another ritual is we open pajamas the night before. Well, Christmas Eve night, we open pajamas. And that's what we have family pictures in the next morning.
Okay, so let's talk about the
Those are our
definition.
rituals.
A ritual is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, actions, or objects performed in a sequestered place. So this year's thing does involve words and objects. It's a sequestered place, your home, and it may be prescribed by traditions of a community. So your community is your home. Okay. When we met more often, so that would fit a definition of a possible ritual. This is what I started to find, that not all rituals are the same in terms of power, but some rituals can be incredibly powerful. So when I started doing with the tribe of kings, and then we started doing rituals with the tribe of queens, with both of them, people were reporting experiences that weren't part of the ritual. In fact, one man who's actually a very buff soldier and very strong-minded, when we went through the ritual and he was anointed and the tribe of kings, it took him back in a powerful way. He came up afterwards, he goes, "How did you do that?" I said, "What?" He said, "When you touched me, my body was filled with electricity. It almost knocked me over." So where did that come from? It was a matter of expectation. Where do rituals, the power of rituals, come from? Are they from what we expect or what we bring to it? And I think in many ways it is what we bring to it. We started a ritual back in 1994 of going to the Christmas box angel statue, which used to be an original place. And people would go who had lost children. And we started this ritual because I realized something. I wasn't trying to get people to an idol. I was very clear, this is not an idol and it's just a statue. I likened it to a chapel. This is a place for us to gather to focus on what's going on inside your heart and the pain and hurt you feel. And what happened is we started to see miraculous things happen, and people start reporting miraculous things. People would send me pictures, and there would be really interesting things like shadows and things cast on the statue. One person said they saw the statue cry. It's just like very interesting things start coming from this ritual. But what I did see is people who had lost children. The power of the ritual was that they were able to see, to me, other people who had lost children and were still alive and were still going on with their lives and were finding hope. And that gave them hope, because as one woman said to me, "I can't imagine having hope in my life again." She said, "No, not hope." She said, "I can't imagine having joy in my life again." She had completely lost that concept that it could happen. And then one day I saw her like 3 years later. She said, "I had one day that I actually had joy. It may happen again." Okay, so to have this ritual, to create this ritual, gave people a chance to come together and to see each other. And what is the action we did? It's a sequestered place. It's an angel statue. So that gave the place. People come up and they lay a flower for their loved one at the base of the angel, just like happened in the book, The Christmas Box. Well, today there are more than 150 angels around the world, angel monuments. Some of these monuments are more than $1 million. So think in terms of what's happened. This has grown completely on its own. Thousands of people, because this year we're discussing what happens. We can't have it because of COVID. We can't have these large gatherings. So we're going to go online. I said, "How many people do you think we'll have?" And she said, "Some of these statues have more than 1,000 people come every December 6th. And you are, by the way, I'll invite to the December 6th. We're going to go Facebook Live for the angel statues. This is a ritual. And I saw the power of the ritual. And having done it for more than 25 years, I have seen people who have gone from really hard places to places of hope, and then turn around helping others. So I've seen the power of ritual. I bring this up because I think we have lost rituals in our world. As people leave religion, they're losing rituals, and they're forgetting that we need rituals. They didn't just happen. The angel ritual came out of a need that people had. So have you lost the rituals in your life, and do you need more? This should be part of our community. This is the whole point. This is what I'm building up to. I have a ritual. I realize, remember I talked about I get a Diet Coke for my wife in the morning? I have a better day when I do that. And it's like, it's not that she's so grateful, and she is, but I realize it's a ritual that I put myself in of service to my wife. And it puts us in a grateful place. And it suddenly occurred to me, this is a ritual, because if I don't do it, my day feels off. Okay, using my kingdom organizer, I create rituals during the day. Say my proclamation is a ritual. Is it not? It's a very powerful ritual. Okay, this is funny. Making my bed has become a ritual. I made my bed just before I went to bed tonight. And Carrie said, why are you making the bed? And I couldn't make it earlier because she wanted to wash the sheets. It's like, why would you make the bed so late at night? We're about to get in it. Because my day didn't feel complete, because I had created a ritual of order. Now you could say that's foolish. Is it foolish? Is it foolish for me to make the bed in a hotel when I know a maid's going to come do it? What do you think, Joanna Bailey? Do you think that that's foolish, that I would waste my time and make my bed in a hotel?
I do the same thing.
Awesome.
I just feel better. Sometimes we just have to be who we think we have to be to move forward. And
Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly right. So I just want to make sure as a community that we are not losing these powerful rituals in our life. Okay, that we are holding on to these rituals in a way so that we can advance. So what I'd like you to do this week is I would like you to seriously examine the rituals and write them down in your organizer. Now, the organizer itself is a ritual. And it's a powerful ritual, because it's, when I sit down, it's more than saying I'm not making just a to-do list. I'm designing my life every day. And so we're creating this powerful ritual. But I want to be more aware of the rituals. And when my daughter said that, I thought, have I lost some spiritual rituals in my life? And this is vital for us to come back to, because how many saw my post about the day after the election about Kingdom One? Did you see that? And I saw a lot of, expressions of gratitude, but that was the entire point. And my wife, Carrie, couldn't believe I was so calm, because I was very outspoken about the election and my fears. And it's like, I have no control over these things. What I do have control over is my relationship in Kingdom One. And what happened is, by focusing, by taking myself out, what are we doing when we're writing out there in a political sense? What are we doing? Where are we residing? CJ, where are we? Jenica, 5, thank you. We're in Kingdom 5, okay? We're writing Kingdom 5. Is it ever safe to live in Kingdom 5? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. You're going to have fear. You're going to have the unknown. You're going to have things that you cannot control. And it was a great wake-up call. And you know what happened instead? And what happened instead is I had a really great week. And we accomplished big things. And I started big things. And I thought, wow, that wasn't really what I expected to happen. And sometimes it's a blessing to be corrected by the universe. So to step back and say, okay, I need to focus on Kingdom One. And so what I decided this morning is that I need to create some better rituals. I used to be really good about my meditation. Now I am very good about my proclamation every day. I'm very good about reading the, what do we call it? And here it's called the prayer. Let me transcend my perceived limitations, right? That I can magnify. Okay, I'm good about that. But I also sat down and said, let me look at where I'm missing. Who am I missing of my kids? I have kids that have some very different and kind of out there political views. And this has been clear to me, because the only thing I have been asked to do in my kingdoms is to radiate over them. And the one thing that my kids would not dispute, we may completely disagree on things, but they cannot dispute that I love them and support them. and that I'm generally right. That there's a reason I do things, okay? And that also that I am not dogmatic. I am very open to say to people, convince me otherwise. Please tell me where I'm wrong. All right. And so because of that, we have I have an ability to keep my kingdoms in order. And that's my job, period. First of all, to keep sane in kingdom one. Because all of heaven and earth can pass, and that relationship in kingdom one will never change. Think about that. Heaven and earth can pass. The entire universe could collapse in on itself, and the relationship in kingdom one doesn't change. The other relationships will change. Kingdom 2, Kingdom 3, Kingdom 4, and Kingdom 5, and they can change dramatically, especially the more volatile with the far. You remember, the further out we get from the center, the more volatile it becomes. So this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to seriously look at my rituals, and I'm going to create one new ritual. Janica told me tonight something that made me happy. I love Christmas, and I realize I love Christmas because of the rituals. So after this call, I'm going to make a cup of sugar-free hot chocolate, and I'm going to put on some Christmas music and sit in front of a fire, because my soul needs that tonight. Okay. And Janica was telling me how much she just loves to drink hot chocolate. And as a diabetic who's fighting it, it's like, okay, I've got to find a way around this because I love hot chocolate, but I pretty much love anything that's sweet, including you. So what are the rituals we're going to do to lift us? Can someone share an idea of a ritual that they have? And I'm talking about more in almost a religious sense, a ritual that they have that has brought them peace and strength. Is there anyone who would like to share something?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Ritual has brought me peace. I do my gratitudes every morning and every night. That's the first thing I do and the last thing when I go into bed. And I get into a meditative state so easy by doing my gratitudes in the morning and at night. And it makes a real difference in my life.
What is that when you do the gratitudes? What does it look like? Are you laying down? Are you at the lights off? Are you
at night? I'm laying down with the lights off. It's the last thing after we do our beamer. We do our beamer, and then I start doing my gratitudes, and literally within 2 minutes, I'm gone. In the morning, I get up, I mill around here for just a minute, then I go into the other end of the house where it's quiet, and I sit up straight. And right before I do my reading for the day, I do my meditation or my gratitudes sitting upright, and I'm able to stay awake because I don't want to fall over and bash my head into something. So, but that's a ritual I do every morning, every night. Well, my Kingdom Organizer is a ritual. I do it. I mean, I seriously, I take it everywhere I go, and I do, and I am just very dedicated to it. And Janelle said the other day, she's proud of me. I have not missed one day this year.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I love it. It's keeping me on track. I love it.
Yeah, part of me, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's exactly what, imagine going to bed with a ritual. That's wonderful.
I cannot wait to start sharing the Kingdom Organizer again.
Yeah, me too.
I need to really get out there and a lot of people need the Kingdom Organizer right now more than ever.
They do. And we're gonna take a break in just a minute. We're gonna switch over and tell you what's happening, because some very exciting things are happening about that. In fact, I tried to call you this morning to tell you about. If you check your phone, you see I called you, CJ.
Oh, I will have to check it. I was at the airport picking up Spencer from Florida today.
Yeah.
His kids say that they're your absolute biggest fans. I asked the youngest one this morning, I said, "You ever heard of a guy named Richard Paul Evans?" He's like, "Duh." He says, "Who hasn't heard of him?" Because I've read every one of his books.
Awesome. I met a neighbor last night. She went to the store. Her grandson, she said she wanted the 7th book of Michael Vey. So she went to the store to get a book from Michael Vey, and they couldn't find the author Michael Vey. She was completely stumped. And then finally someone came by and said, no, that's not the author. That's the name of the book. So, and I'm her neighbor. She had never made the connection.
I got to finish my book here pretty quick. The Essence.
So, okay, so that's what when you, I gotta tell you, I dearly hope you're using your planners, your organizers. I hope you are realizing the benefit of them. This week, I mean, I personally am firing on all 6 cylinders. And the Christmas box house exploding, my charity just exploding. And it's almost like my source is saying, okay, because you're expanded your capacity, I'm going to throw more people your way. And so I met with 2 women from Washington, D.C. with a national initiative who now want to partner with me. And it's just like, they just keep coming and coming and coming. We had to give you an idea. They were bringing in about 6 online donations a month before we came on a month ago. We've brought in more than 300 new donors in the last month and a half. And some of them are big. And then we have also promises for bigger donations. What's happening with Christmas Box House is we said, let it be magnified. Let's magnify this, and it's magnified. But what I didn't count on is that it's magnifying my life. I have such a joy. In fact, I keep dropping by there. Don't we, Diane? I just want to drop by the Christmas Box House and check it out. And twice I got to see kids. I haven't seen kids in months. You don't often see the kids because they're so locked down. But once I had to bring them out to see a foster parent, we saw this little trail of kids coming through. And another time I went in there, we brought in 2 2-month-olds in one day. And I went in there and she was holding, they let me go back there. And it was funny because I felt like a lion on the savannah because all the little kids were hiding, their heads popped up over the couches and looked at me. And this is funny. Someone said, well, do you have people working there all the time? It's like, oh no, we just leave the kids on the weekend. They fend for themselves. It's like, yes, we have. Yes, we are there all the time. We have been in business for the last 25 years, 24/7. It's like there are always children in there. With one, there's only twice. And if those who came up and helped at the Ogden house, we did some yard work. It was the first time I've seen in my life that there weren't children in there. And that was only be a day. They were actually stumped. There are no children. One of the reasons is because of the pandemic, everyone just stopped abusing, right? I wish. There's no one to report it, right? There's no way, they're not seeing the kids. There's no one to report it. So that's what's happening. So there's more, we believe that abuse has probably doubled, physical abuse and sexual abuse, but there's no way to get to it. And that's the problem. So we're preparing to be ready when we're able to get out. And then we fully expect to be completely flooded. The Salt Lake facility is full of kids though. So anyway, so this is what, I want to tell you what's happening. And this is kind of exciting. I've told you that, so we're going to move on from rituals now. Your homework this week, my homework this week is I'm going to create a new ritual. And I'm going to also identify the rituals in my life and enjoy them, especially my Christmas rituals. Okay. Our community. I remember George Washington said, we have a choice to give up or endure. And he said, I choose to endure. I was telling someone about our community here that we have more than 30 people every Sunday night for more than a year. And they were stunned. It's like, why do they come? I don't know. Ask them. Why do they come? It's like, well, what is it that's holding them together? And this is what's cool. It's like what holds us together is we're actually a community. We actually have each other. We actually have each other's backs. We love each other. And it's that love that's holding this community together. Well, one of the things that's happened is I've told you that my friend, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, he just released another book this week, or actually it was Monday. My book came out Tuesday, the week before last. Well, his book came out and it wasn't doing very well. I think on Amazon, it was ranked about 2,000, which isn't awful, but it's not great. It's not going to hit a bestseller list at 2,000 on Amazon. And then he had this idea. He went back to his publisher and said, what if we give the ebook away for 99 cents to get it into more people's hands, and then they'll buy the book? So they agreed to this little experiment. So he called a man named Greg Link, who looks just like Mitt Romney. Greg Link was the president of Franklin Covey. And he went to him and said, what do you think of this idea? And he said, well, what you need to do is gift it. Find a way to gift it. And if you go to Amazon, there's 99 cents, and you say, send a gift to someone. So for $10, I could send 10 books to, I could send a book to 10 friends. Is that enticing? Okay. So Ben tried this little experiment from a book that wasn't doing very well. Do you know how many books he sold last week? Anyone want to guess? Anthony Fowler, why don't you guess? Tony.
6,000.
6,000. That's a lot of books. 6,000 is enough to hit the New York Times sometime. I think we lost Anthony. He fell asleep.
10,000.
So, yeah. He sold 80,000 copies. 80,000 copies of his book in 1 week. Hay House, a major publisher, who actually
I'm here.
CJ knows. Good. Who CJ knows. Hay House is was his father's publisher, right? Was he?
What was the question?
Actually, Simon and Schuster.
Actually, Simon Schuster was. Hay House. The question was how many books had he published? So but 80,000 copies is how many they sold. And he called me and he was super, super excited. He goes, Rick, this book has zero potential compared to the Five Kingdoms. And imagine if you had been attached to this, we would have sold more than 100,000 copies in 1 week, which would be the highest ebook sales maybe in history. But so now the next day I got 17 emails from him. He's very excited. He now believes, he goes, what we need to do is build the entire community. Imagine anyone who wanted to share the Kingdom Organizer for 99 cents, they could gift someone a book. He said, we could do 1 million books in a week. So then he went back to Greg Link of Franklin, told him what we're doing. He said, well, I'm in. And he went to his son-in-law, Richie Norton. He goes, I'm in. I want to do this. And so he asked about you. And that's when Greg Link, he's the one I told you about this group. He goes, well, why do they stay? And I said, because they're amazing people, but they want to share what they have. They want to share and they're looking for ways. And he said, well, what better way for, imagine that for a small investment. Imagine if someone said, okay, I'm going to send out 1,000 books. They could make thousands and thousands of dollars back in sales. And so that's the model we are now pursuing. The only reason, and here's actually the proposal that's going out to the publisher. The only reason that it's not done already is because my agent wants to just get a tacit approval from my publisher because we're going with a different publisher and she doesn't want them to hate me and be mad. Okay, that's the only reason it's not already sent in. So I will let you know as soon as we have this deal. But then what we're going to do is we're going to carefully structure this. We're going to carefully structure this organization and this way that we're moving together. And so when we're ready, that because we're not an MLM, we decided against that, but all of you are who want to be can be representatives, corporate representatives of the company, which means you will get paid a healthy commission on everyone you share. And now this will give you a way to actually share it. An inexpensive way, small. I mean, first of all, there's two things going. One, you're getting it's going to be a really cool book. They're going to read and say, I want this. That's the first thing. The book's going to be really good. And people need this. They're hungry for it. And then they're going to say, like Brendan Bouchard, did I say it right? Brendan Bouchard, his book, he came out with his book and then he started selling planners. So by the way, the guy who's producing his planners is now coming on with us. He's doing Brendan's. But what he said to me, he said, you know, you did it backwards. You came out with your planner and now you're working on the book. You should have come out with the book first. I said, I know. I didn't follow my own advice because books start revolutions. So what our goal here, and if it is your goal and your dream, it's not about selling 1 million planners. It's about changing 1 million lives. It's about starting a revolution. And if we're able to do 500,000 books in 1 week, every bit of media will be nationally will be looking at us. And so what we're going to do is very carefully, very planfully take our community right here and then start to build on it. And so once we have that plan, we'll lay it out through you. And we have such tremendous leadership like Lynn Caberna, leadership like Janica, like CJ. Okay, we have great leaders in this group. We have people who have tremendous, Tony Spooner. Okay, and so we're going to plan pandemic or not, because this was done. That 80,000 books he did was done in a pandemic. So we're going to be ready and prepared. So we're going to be very carefully and planfully go out. What do you think? What do you think? That makes sense?
I think it's good timing and I think it's the right order.
Cool, Vicki, thank you. I just, the book itself, books have the power to start revolutions, as I've taught you. Many of you have heard me teach. And so when people are able to listen, to read the book and understand it, to go through it, it's going to be fun reading. And then maybe, and I don't know if it will be Augmandino style, where we take almost fictional, take a person, or if we do several of them. But anyway, we have a major publisher who's very, very excited to do this, very excited. The president of Hay House has reached out to me personally, or actually to Ben, and said, I really want to work with Richard Ball Evans. And so let me ask you this, and this is an important question. Going back to tradition, and is the 5 kingdoms the right term, or is it too religious? What do you think? Janica, you're nodding. What does that mean?
Keep it. It's your brand. Own it.
Okay, so you like it. Well, let me tell you something. When it comes to making titles for books, I suck. This is the guy who came up with Michael Bay and the Electric Cheerleader. Okay? I'm smart enough to know sometimes I'm an idiot. The locket was called Winter in Arcadia. And after the 20th person in a row said, what? I thought that's a bad name. So he called it the locket, and it was a big movie, and it was great. And it was on the New York Times for 16 weeks. So
I have a good.
Listening to you. What do you think?
What about prosperity using the 5 kingdoms, or prosperity? Prosperity is something, and prosperity doesn't have to mean wealth, because people can be wealthy in spiritually wealthy, mentally wealthy, wellness wealthy. They can be wealthy in a bunch of different ways. So maybe the prosperity and the kingdom organizer.
Okay, we'll play around with it, because what I'm doing is I'm working with P's. I don't know how this happened, but the 5 kingdoms, the path to personal power, peace, and productivity.
Boom chakalaka.
So, but the publisher will definitely engage, and these guys are good. Have you ever heard of Deepak Chopra?
What are you talking about? I'm talking to him all the time.
Wayne Dyer.
Yes, I used to talk to him
about. Wayne followed your father, CJ. It's that's his publisher. That's who's bringing us on. Okay, that's who we're talking. We're talking serious about starting a revolution. So anyway, this community of friends here, it's almost, think of it as starting almost a religion. And it goes back to where we're talking about rituals, where people are giving up rituals and finding themselves lost. And I don't like lost people in society. Lost people do crazy things. Lost people aren't productive. Lost people aren't given a whole lot of love. You know what it's like when you're behind someone who's totally just flailing in life, and you stand behind them at a grocery store, or you accidentally cut them off on the freeway. They're the ones that are going to start shooting at you. I don't like lost people. And so if we can give them a path, and the kingdoms are a path, it's a very clear path, and it's a path of truth. There's no doubt, there's no question that to the extent we live them, we find greater joy, productivity, prosperity, all of it. All of it. My life right now is moving in spite of this incredible, tumultuous Kingdom 5. My front kingdoms are knocking it out of the park. Okay, it's like things are going really well. My brother asked me how I was today. He lives in Washington or Maryland, and said, really good. I mean, that doesn't mean I don't have those dark days. It doesn't mean I don't even slip into Kingdom 5 from now and then. That's the battle we will all have. We oscillate as human beings. And you do too, okay? But then we get reminded by each other. That's why the community is important. We get reminded to get pulled back into it. So anyway, that's where, and Mike Trollis, it's good to see you, my friend. That's why we're here. And that's why this community is just so vital. We have so many opportunities coming up and so many opportunities to share. You have not had the tools and to do exactly what you need to do. This is a learning experience and things are coming, but they feel really good. I feel like there's this unified motion that everything's coming together. I even feel like what I'm doing with helping trafficked children and abused children is morphing perfectly into our kingdom and our community. You all, do you feel something? Do you feel in your heart that it's been put on your heart to reach out to defend children? Anyone? Does anyone feel that? I have felt this really strong sense that I'm supposed to defend children right now. And it just, and the thing is, I even have the word defendchildren.com. How cool is that? So I have a feeling that we are going on an amazing ride together. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it because we're having fun, aren't we, Diane? It's actually like we're having a good time. There's so many fun things happening. So this week for me is full of media. I'm getting more and more media. One of my buddies, we're sending out to more than 2 million people with my book. My book's crushing it. And we're moving the right direction, but keep this in your prayers. This we hopefully will pitch this week. I would be so happy to next Sunday night tell you that we had a book deal. That would make me so happy to be able to tell you. I don't know if it can move that fast. All these publishers are at home and their lawyers are at home. It's kind of weird, but I would love to be able to tell you that. But I'll tell you, these new guys that are coming in and want to be involved, they see the power of your involvement. And they're very impressed at your commitment and your level of commitment. And they're also really smart. And the one thing that Greg Link said to me, because Greg has retired from Franklin, and he said, Rick, do you really want to do this? He said, you're not as old as I am, but you're not 30 anymore. And I said, you're completely right. I get tired. I have to take naps now. But Ben and Richie, they're at the perfect phase in life. They're 30 years old. They're 30-year-old millionaires. And it's like, they're in just the right place. They're both looking at building a $100 million company. They want to be involved with something big, and they both believe this could be it. Guys, so it's like those are the guys that are going to be on planes all the time. Because I already have my 2 million miles in. But the other thing that's really beautiful is I'm reaching more people right now through Zoom than I ever did on book signings. You know, a simple book signing, we could, if I wanted to, tomorrow I could have 1,000 people on a call. So in fact, tonight, Jen and I don't know if any of you saw that, we were trying to figure out how to add someone to Facebook Live, and I'm going off what they said online. So I turned it on, and it's like, this is only a test. Please don't watch. Within a minute, we had 2 minutes, we had 153 people were watching us. It's like, we're testing here. We're just trying to make this work. There's nothing to see here. Just to keep on driving. And of course, they start making comments. I'm in Canada. I'm in here. It's like, oh my gosh, we live in this new world, and we're all getting pretty good at Zoom. Would you agree? So, Paula, your hand's up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I loved the book signing that I went to
Uh-huh.
for you, because I would have never met you. I would have never done this.
Oh,
And
in real life. Yeah.
I know that sometimes you have to be out there
I-
for people like me to go and meet you, because you did touch me at the book signing. I would have never been on this. I would have never joined Empowering Queens. I would have never done the 5 Kingdoms or anything else.
So you have to be really careful about saying you touched me at a book signing now.
Well, I touched me,
I'm kidding. I know. I'm kidding.
you know, emotionally
Kidding.
and
I still have
personally.
PTSD. I still have PTSD.
Yeah, I know.
But no, but actually you're right. I can't wait to give Janica a hug in real life. Absolutely. I miss seeing you. So, you know, we need human touch, and we need that warmth, and absolutely. But in terms of reaching and sharing and stuff, we're able to do it with this, and we're able to reach out faster. So like tomorrow night, I'm doing a call with my to explain my daughter's book coming out and talking with that. But all these meetings are getting set up with tens of thousands of people, and are really exciting. So, but that's by using these tools correctly. I can totally see CJ or Tony. I can totally see you guys sending out, saying, "Look, I'm going to invest $1,000, send out 1,000 books to people, and just contact them." When someone gives you a gift of a book, what do you say? It's like, "Oh, wow, thanks. Go read it. What do you think?" And think of having people actually read it, then say, "Well, I want to be involved with this. I want an organizer." I mean, we could start a revolution. We could just crush it. And so now it's interesting because I feel like the right people are being put in place. Richie, who came in, he's been producing hundreds of thousands of organizers. One day we were going to go to him. He spends a lot of time in China. He lives in Hawaii, and that's what he does. He exports, and he goes, "I'm really good at planners." And so he goes, he's got it. Okay. So, I mean, it's really interesting, the people that are coming in place and falling together. But the real thing comes back to this right here, this community that we have each other and can look after each other. We need this, and we need it desperately. We need a group to lift our spirits and to inspire us so that we can be strong and happy and healthy. So that is what's going on. It's kind of exciting. I hope you have an exciting week. In addition to your ritual, I hope you have one thing this week that helps to build your power, your empire, and your joy that you're looking at. It's like, this is what's going to happen this week with me. That you're not floundering. And if you are, spend more time with your organizer. Spend more time looking at what you're going to do this week. So we're going to start our endowment fund. After 20 years, we're going to start the Christmas Box Endowment Fund. It should have been started 20 years ago. I told them we're not going another week. That's exciting to me because someday that endowment fund will have millions of dollars in it. I've already seen it. And it's going to allow the legacy I've given so much of my life to continue past my death. Helping kids. That's exciting to me. And it's totally doable. So in terms of thinking, what are you going to create this week? And the best stuff you're going to create are going to be memories. They're going to be that involvement with people and that you love and bless their lives. So make that the biggest part of your empire. The people who have faith in humanity because of you. So, okay, that's what I had to say tonight. Thanks for being here. What a great turnout. So exciting things happening. If you remember, this is a no shame zone. If you haven't been using your planner, it doesn't impact me. It doesn't matter except that I care about you. Lift it up again, get in it. And also, I think we're going to simplify it. There's some things I can see to simplify. So as we get ready with the book, there might be some changes. And so I'm going to be reaching out to you about those changes, about how you feel. My agent, by the way, one of the names we came up with for the book was Concentric Power. And my agent actually came back and said, Lori said, why don't we keep 5 Kingdoms? Why don't we just keep it for now? because we already know the brand works, and let's see. We'll know when it's the right time. When you hear the right thing, you'll know too. And the real answer is the name has to be what will reach the most people and affect the most lives, period. Yeah, CJ.
Just been, not that I haven't been paying complete attention, but I wrote down a couple other things that might be possibilities, like inner peace and power, utilizing the 5 kingdoms, or I am utilizing the 5 kingdoms. I don't know. Got a couple other ones. I'll be thinking about a whole bunch of them.
Okay, so please let's do a big brain mind meld here. Okay, a mastermind. You have been living this. You know it. You know, you have these experiences that work. So
Self-empowerment. Self-empowerment in the 5 kingdoms.
And then what we'll do is we'll do a survey with you after we come up with these different names. So go ahead and feel free to send them to me. Yeah, Joseph.
You could do aligning yourself with your 5 kingdoms.
It's totally, yeah. And the question is, what do we do as a cover? But one thing I also believe in is really testing. You know, it's like the book I'm coming out with next spring. When people know what it's about, they love the title. But what about someone who doesn't know what it's about? Does the title turn them off? And they never give it a chance. That's what we need to test on my book next spring, Ricky the Great. Because when people hear the story of Ricky the Great, they love it. Okay, but if they don't know it, they think it's weird, or it's a young adult book. So, all right, everyone. So keep your ideas, get ready. We'll do some polling, and I hope to have good news next Sunday. If not, by the next Sunday. Okay, so keep your fingers crossed. Oh, geez. Did you get that Amber Alert?
Yeah.
It's COVID. Hospitalizations and case growth are unsustainable. Wow. We hit a new record.
Yep.
Go Utah.
We were just talking to doctors in Utah today, and they said they don't even have anybody in the hospital there. The couple I talked to.
It's not true.
Uh-uh.
True. My daughter's a nurse, and she's with her friends, and one of the nurses just died last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rick?
We're slammed up here.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
My son, he works with some of the COVID patients that are in the hospital, and he's a nurse. They're full.
Yeah. Utah's getting slammed. I hope it's not so in Arizona. I don't know what we're doing, but it's not us. We're not having big meetings.
Mm-mm.
So Davis Hospital is full. Yeah, it's real.
It was Lagoon. I worked there. Everybody went and nobody wore their masks.
It was Lagoon. Well, yeah, it's going to change the way we do things and look at things, but it does not need to slow us down. It does not need to slow us down. In fact, if we're clever, let me just tell you one thing and I'll close it. What we're starting to find, I'm doing these virtual book signings, and every bookstore I've talked to is having a record year. Think about that, a record year. In fact, this one woman said, I hate to say it, don't tell anyone, but COVID's the best thing that's happened to our independent bookstore. Okay. The other thing is we were talking to a major charity, and they said it's our biggest charitable year ever. Okay. So there are opportunities. There are great opportunities. And especially since some people want to put their head in the sand, right? They want to say, hey, bad things are happening. I'm just going to hide and wait it out. This is an opportunity. More people need the organizer and the philosophy than ever before. I have never seen so many lost people in my life. Are there 1 million people in America whose life would be completely enhanced with the organizer?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Are there 10 million who would get it? Yes. Okay, that's terrifying, Diane.
That is Amber Alert.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Have a great night, and look forward to the next roll of the dice. We'll see you next Sunday.
See ya.
Take care.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Rick.
Good night.